is going to have power in America. What great, great, very wonderful. And in the process of building this place, they tore down a protected forest because inflicting terror is more important than producing oxygen. Right. Than filtering debris through the air. Because I feel you guys forget what trees do. Like, do y'all forget that? Okay. They help you breathe. They create oxygen. Because without trees, we would all be inhaling poison. That's what you would be like breathing. You would be breathing poison because trees filter the air. And y'all keep chopping them the fuck down to make your bullshit police areas and your fucking buildings and your hotels that ain't nobody give a fuck about. If you willingly stay in a hotel, I just think you're dirty. I just think you're dirty. Like, you could get an Airbnb. You want to sleep on something you know people have been fucking on and ain't cleaned? You know, like, maids get paid like 15 bucks an hour, right? 15, that's barely minimum wage. You really think they're gonna clean those sheets on every single bed? No. You really, they'll turn them over, but they're not cleaning them. What about the pillowcases? They'll turn them inside out, but they're not cleaning them. They'll spray them with Febreze, but they're not cleaning them. And yet y'all lay your heads on them. Y'all have sex in them. Oh, speaking of hotels, that's another area where the Jews own. They own hotels, they own restaurants, they own the entire sex industry, they own the banks, they own the Federal Reserve, they own the news, they own Disney, they own media, they own so many different things. They own prisons, the crime, jails, they own that. Um, yeah, they own every aspect, every every aspect. So, yeah. So during Titanic, on the Titanic, there were three people who were going to stop. Um, they were very, very important people, and they were going to stop the Jews from owning the Federal Reserve. But they died on the Titanic, unfortunately. They were going when they got off of the Titanic. They were going to this meeting. That's why they were on the Titanic. They were all going to this meeting to sign these papers of whether or not these people would take over, whether the Rothschilds would have power over the Federal Reserve. Because way, 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 way back, there was the original Rothschild who had decided they had all this money and they wanted to divvy it up um, for basically world total like nominate like just world takeover if need be. So they purchased media, they purchased restaurants, they introduced the sex industry, and they introduced this in Berlin, Russia, um, Ukraine. Um, they introduced this. They tried to introduce it in the Middle East, but we know how they feel about that. Um, and that is another reason why there is this like clash between Palestinians and Israelis is because Israel, I know y'all love to think they're innocent. They're as corrupt as it fucking gets. They're as corrupt as it gets. Every last one of their citizens is as corrupt as it gets. You think they take care of the people from, you think they care so much about the Holocaust? The victims of the actual Holocaust are in poverty in Israel. They're in poverty. The grandchildren of the victims of the Holocaust are in poverty in Israel. They're begging for scraps and they're not getting any. Um, along with children from victims of the Holocaust. If you because and the reason why they do this is because they don't want them to have power. They don't want them to have a voice. They have select people, and it's under the Israel Project. And they have these select people that they nominate as people who are going to be Holocaust survivors. And they're going to describe their woes, their tales of fear and pain and torture. Um, but the story is always the same, like the exact same, like it's a script, like it's a monologue, like they're reading from a paper. And that's the Israeli way. The Israeli way is to lie, to deny, and to destroy. If you are not a Zionist, you are cattle. You are fit for slaughter. If you do not agree with Zionists, you are cattle. You are fit for slaughter. They will kill you. They have no issue. They've done this plenty of times. There was a Holodomor where they literally made children, mothers, eat their children. They were begging for food. They stole all of the grain from Ukraine. They stole all of it. And they were begging for food. They also did this in Latvia, where I'm from, or my family, some of my family is from. They stole all of the food, um, all the grain. They took it so that it couldn't be, and then they destroyed the soil so that you couldn't produce any food. And they did this during the winter, during the cold months. And this was going on for a few years. This went on for a few years where mothers were told when they begged for food, if you're not eating your young, you're not starving yet. Um, and so mothers would cook their kids and they would feed them to their other children to for warmth and food. And this was the Zionist way to get people to completely break down and submit. This was their way to make mothers eat their young. But yeah, y'all seem to think they're so fucking innocent, right? Right.